Before we begin, thank you very much to Boomtox the Boombox. Fun name. For joining the Patreon campaign over at patreon.com/TJOmega. Thank you once again to everyone who is supporting the channel. You are literally making this possible, and I thank each and every one of you as often as I can because I cannot thank you enough. But I will certainly try. I skipped the news roundup last week, which means a whole bunch of things have been piling up that I would like to talk about. The things that when I go live on Twitch, go follow me on Twitch, by the way. The things I talk about on Twitch when as soon as I go online, everyone asks me, what'd you think of this? What'd you think of that? What'd you think of this? What'd you think of that? So this is me trying to answer all of those preemptively. And this time we got a couple weeks worth of stuff. Honestly, not really as many stories as I thought, even going that far back. But we do have a few things. Starting off with the Amazon listings for Rise of the Beast the toy list, and an updated release date. So we got a release date for the toy line from Gamefly, of all places. This said April 1st, but the Amazon listings now say April 15th. The trick here is that Rise of the Beast was delayed until 2023. All the toys are coming out April 15th. Little bit strange. That's what happens when release dates get changed, and it can be disastrous sometimes. We've seen with Wonder Woman 84, where all of so many of her that toy line came out because the way the toy industry works, they can't just like, oh wait, the film got delayed for a year, hold everything up. No, this stuff was in production months ago, months before they even thought they would need to delay. And they don't have warehouse space to hold hundreds of thousands of toys for a year. They have space to produce a toy, get it in a warehouse, get it to a shipping depot, and get rid of it. And then the next toy down the line is already in the queue. Like they can't hold everything up or send everything to the back of the line because there's 2 years worth of every factory is going to have 2 years worth of products scheduled going through and going through the machines and the conveyor belts and all, etc. They can't just stop and send something back because there's too much else in the way taking up the schedule. So they're left in a position where the toys have to come out because there's no other time to release them and no way to hold on to them that long. And for movies like Wonder Woman 84 and G.I. Joe Retaliation was the really bad one. That toy line hit, and then the movie came out a year later, and yeah, that toy line sunk. That toy line died a death at retail. Transformers have an easier time. We have a more dedicated fan base, but still. What is interesting is that so far, all the listings we've seen have been more gimmicky things. Beast Battle Master Rhinox, for instance. Nothing huge, nothing weird. No, we haven't, and I think it's telling that the release date is less than 2 months off, and we have not seen a single toy from this toy line. We have no idea what any of the characters look like. We don't have any idea what all the gimmicks for the toy line are going to be, what the deluxe is, what the price points are even going to be. Do we get standard, deluxe, Voyager, etc., I assume, or do we just get a bunch of gimmicky toys? And then the rest is handled by Studio Series. We don't know. We know literally nothing, but the toy line is less than 2 months away. Keep in mind, on the Generation side, Hasbro's announced things that are 3-4 months out. But here we have this major line for a major movie. Nothing. Nada. So this has me concerned. This has me concerned for the toy line itself, just because I literally have no idea what they're doing, and it feels like we're gonna get a very stunted launch for this toy line. Just a concern to share. Talking of Studio Series, we can go on to talk about a few of those toys that showed up. So people are starting to get the next Ironhide in hand. Ratchet just came out at retail, and people already have Ironhide. Gee, wonder how they got a hold of them. But we can actually see in better detail now the comparison shots to Ratchet and see exactly how much has changed. And the Ironhide is doing what I love redecos to do, which is highlighting different areas of the sculpt. You can see on the forearms especially where Ironhide colors the top, Ratchet colors the bottom. Love when they do things like that. The midsection is a completely different paint mask as well. That's really cool, and he looks really good. The mold looks really good in red. Now, I've heard the Ratchet has some problems yellowing very quickly, so having this alternative, which is definitely not going to be yellowing with the red plastic, much better for collectors long term. Very welcome to see. Let me see the vehicle mode. The vehicle mode I like too in the red. That yellow stripe makes me happy. I remember back in the dark ages where we were tying tin cans with string together to get an internet connection dialed up on AOL. I can remember us like being really angry as a fandom that Ironhides were coming out that did not have the yellow stripe down the side. I can remember a lot of people, me included, being really frustrated that like the one thing that gave his vehicle mode a little bit of detail was completely omitted. I'm glad they always include it now. So yeah, I still really like the look of this vehicle mode. Really like the look of the vehicle mode. My Ratchet's on the way. I'm looking forward to this, playing with this mold. It looks really good. Also in Studio Series Bumblebee toys, Arcee is now in hand as well. And she's looking very, very nice. Her overall design is thicker than Arcee's we've gotten in the past, which is what I have been asking for. Don't take that out of context. Not like a thick with 2 C's. No, not that kind of thick. She has the bulk she needs to actually turn into a vehicle rather than just wearing a vehicle on her back. This is a much needed improvement and a very big step in the right direction for Arcee. Strangely enough, I don't have it listed here. I don't have the image pulled up here because I don't even think TFW posted on it. But Authentics Arcee, someone found Authentics Arcee's first photos, like the budget line you'd find at like Walgreens or something, and it looks really good. Like for what it is, for what that line is, it actually looks like a competently designed Arcee that makes like a nice foundation for what Generations Arcees should be designed like. I'm actually really curious about that figure when it finally drops. For now, though, Studio Series Arcee looking very, very nice. Vehicle mode looks really cool. There is now, like with the Ironhide Ratchet mold, I couldn't really tell how it transformed. There's a little bit more part movement in there that my brain can follow. This is very, very easy to follow. You can see her shoulder and then the forearm here. You can see, it's just her legs with the wheels extended. That said, it looks like a very, very nice vehicle, and it's a really cool blend between her traditional car and the more modern motorcycle Arcee that they use to attempt to get her in some kind of scale. So she looks like she's a pretty simplistic transformation, but the overall look of the vehicle and the robot, I think, are really, really good, which, that makes me forgive simple transformations. Really looking forward to this one. Really looking forward to see how this feels and how it plays as a figure. So, moving on. We have a new rumor in the works. This was from the GameStop computer system. AF Tray Project Trooper 1. This is the kind of listing we see when they do a collaborative crossover figure, like your Jurassic Park and your Back to the Future, etc. So, and at $89.99, that makes absolute sense at that price point for it to be a collaborative figure. I have no clue. So, when they do these code names, there's always some vague connection between the code name and what it's going to end up being. There's too much. Like, Trooper could be anything. Like you could be things that have troops in them. Like your G.I. Joe. Like it could be a U.S. military general thing. And Trooper could be more literal with like anything between Starship Trooper and VR Trooper. So this one is interesting. Like the collaborative lines are always weird. They don't really announce or hint at them ever. We always get computer listings letting us know, like, oh, hey, this is on the way. And it's never spelled out, so we always get to speculate. I remember when they did, there was one that was Project Bat, and everyone thought, oh my god, we're getting a transforming Batman. We're going to get a Batman that transforms into a Batmobile. They're never going to get that license. They're never going to get them. They're not going to, the people have been making Marvel toys for, decades now. They're not going to get the license. They're not going to get any, like, even a short-term license to do any DC character. It is not going to happen. But this is fascinating. This is fascinating. I'm eager to see what this one's going to end up being. The Bat ended up being the Dracula, by the way. So that's by vague connection. That's what I mean. So Trooper could literally be anything that has a Trooper in it. That doesn't narrow it down much, and that's the point. But we do get to speculate. I'm hoping for the G.I. Joe. Because it feels like Hasbro in the past has said they never felt there was a right time when both series were popular enough to do a crossover. And I always thought, but that's not the point. You should be doing one to save the other. If G.I. Joe is floundering, mix them in with Transformers so we get some interest going, to keep the franchise afloat while it's, G.I. Joe's kind of dying right now. It could be a little bit of shot in the arm it needs. So keep an eye on it. This stuff might turn out to be really, really cool. And moving on, we have an art book coming out for Transformers War for Cybertron. Not the toy line, the cartoon. The one we all love so much. Okay, so for the fans of the cartoon, that's fine. Have an art book, no issue there whatsoever. This did bring up a conversation on Twitter that I do want to add my 2 cents in. We had artists, we had Transformer artists on Twitter, the people who do the packaging art, who are vocalizing on Twitter that they wish they could reveal what they were working on or the packaging art that they had done, which I think is so unfair to the artists. It's so unfair. And here's my perspective. This is the company that owns Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. When you look at a Magic the Gathering card, it credits the name of the artist who drew the artwork for the card. When you flip through your pages of Dungeons and Dragons, it credits the people who drew the monsters and the characters you see in the pages. There's no harm, in just adding the name of the artist on the side of the packaging, because that supports the artist. That lets people know, hey, this person does good work. Hire them so they can actually pay rent. That's, there's nothing but good things that can happen from that. Like, what, you're worried that someone's going to pinch your artist, Hasbro? That's when you contract them. You're going to be doing Transformer art for us for a couple of years. And that's guaranteed money for them. Again, up and up. I've seen toys now. I can't remember what it was, but I saw a toy at Walmart the other day, just as like a statuette piece, and it credited the sculptor. And that was fantastic. That's again something I feel like Transformers needs to do. This just brings up an ugly side of the franchise where the artists absolutely deserve credit for the work that they've done. And also because, some of the packaging art is really, really cool. I'd like to go on Twitter and say, hey, dude, you did a great job on this. Keep it up. Looking forward to the next one you do. I don't know why they have to keep it in the dark. I don't know why there's some NDA on what art you've done. And I don't know. It just seems like we are way, way far behind on that. I think it's time Hasbro needs to start crediting the people who draw all the packaging art that makes their toys viable in the marketplace, Pretty important part. So, that's my 2 cents. The art book is fine. I really don't care about the art book, personally. I'd rather, there was something voiced in one of the fan first things where, they are aware, and it's one of the questionnaires. It's one the Q&A things where they had people people from the noteworthy people in the community, aka Evangelist was on the call, But someone there asked about art books for the packaging art, and so they know that that we want it, and then they do this instead. So that's frustrating. That's frustrating. So keep the conversation going on Twitter. The artists definitely deserve recognition. Moving on, we have a brand new toy coming out for Cyberverse Adventures, which we keep thinking this toy line is done, and then they do something else. Like, I've never seen a Transformer line that has been on life support as long as Cyberverse has. But this one is interesting. This was the Smash Changer Optimus Prime. 9 inches tall, converts from truck to robot in 3 steps by smashing. So apparently you just beat the crap out of your own toy in order to transform it now. I used to do that as a kid, but that wasn't the intended way to transform it. See, it is inspired by the noble leader in the Transformers Bumblebee Cyberverse Adventures cartoon. Slight problem with that. We're going to take a look here. That ain't Cyberverse Optimus Prime. Not with all the tech greeble around the face. Not with all the heavy detailing in the midsection and arms. The proportions aren't even right. No, this is Bumblebee movie Optimus. This is weird. So, you know how I mentioned that the Rise of the Beast lines, the gimmicky toys were coming out first, and we have not even seen like hide nor hair of what size classes we're getting. This feels like something that was designed for that line, but with everything pushed back, they've snuck it into different packaging. So now it's going to be a Cyberverse figure released. Probably like the only new Cyberverse figure toy we are getting this year. I'm willing to bet. It looks nice. Like, I'll actually say, like, for a big gimmicky Optimus that transforms by smashing it, I don't mind the look of this. I actually really like the heavy reinforced Optimus Prime look here. I think this is actually kind of neat. Looks like it remolds into Bulkhead a little bit. Can you see that? Like with the roll bar in the back. This whole thing was green. But yeah, this I think would be cool. This is just like a fun little gimmicky toy for kids. Yeah, I don't mind this at all. Yeah, it's just goofball fun. It's just interesting that it's obviously not Cyberverse Optimus Prime. So we're seeing where the holdups in that movie are causing a few distribution problems. At least this one they caught in time to correct. Now, speaking of the Transformer cartoons, we have one very small thing. So the BotBots cartoon is coming to Netflix on March 25th. Which is interesting to me, because, like, this is literally all we've seen. Again, like, here we are a month away from the launch of this cartoon for the little mini BotBots, and they're not showing anything. I have seen absolutely nothing of animation, of comedy styles. I don't think I've even seen a press release recently about what this series is going to be. Obviously, a little kids show. It's definitely going to be humoristic, comedy-centric. The art doesn't quite match how the toy art looks, which is kind of bothersome to me. I recognize some of these BotBots. They're more cartoony in the faces. They don't, I think they lose a little bit of the robotic edge that they had, but we'll see. I think for what I was afraid, the Earth Spark was going to end up being, this is probably going to be what I was really afraid of. I don't know. I'll give it a shot. If it's funny, I'll at least give it a couple episodes to watch. No big deal, but probably nothing I'm going to pay too much attention to. Also, everyone in the Dino Fury cast is horrified at something over here on the right. Let's see what the next thing is that they're looking at. Oh, yeah. They're horrified already. See. They announced that Rise of the Beast was going to be the first movie of a new trilogy. I have massive reservations about this, considering like they're going back to the big budget movies. We're going back to the blank of the blank format. There's no Michael Bay involved, so I guess now we get to see what a big budget, big CGI, action piece of a movie is going to look like when Michael Bay isn't around to throw all of his quirks into the movie. So that's going to be interesting, but preemptively saying, oh, it's the first movie of a new trilogy. One, we didn't have a trilogy before. We had like 5 connecting movies, and then one that's floating in the ether. And apparently these follow up Bumblebee, but are going back to the original style of the movies. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about this. I think this is presumptuous. Feel like this is really presumptuous. I'm looking forward to seeing more of the movies, and they did announce that, yes, the animated Transformer movie is also on the way, the CGI animated one in 2024. I don't know. I think this is getting ahead of themselves. I'd rather see what the next movie is going to be like, and then if the reception's good, then maybe we announce that there's 2 more on the way. And we're going to wrap it up with Jada Toys, who normally does like little miniature Transformer figurines, non-transforming, like almost like micro machines. But they actually announced that they are doing an auto-transforming Optimus Prime with a little remote control. You can, it's a little Arcee car to drive around and then command to transform into Optimus Prime. And it's that, like, the early, like, homemade robot style of transformation where it's just big feet lifting him up and then the arms just come out the sides. So nothing terribly complex, but I think it's interesting to actually see it being released because it comes off of, like, I can't remember the company named it. I should have looked it up first. I didn't think of that. But we've got that big $700 Optimus Prime coming out that fully transforms on its own, walks, does battle poses, has quotes and everything. This is the Wish.com version, for lack of better description. Not that it's inherently bad. It is essentially the same gimmick. It's the same style of figure. Just it's going to be way cheaper and way easier to afford. A kid might actually be able to play with this. I do think it's fun. I do think it's a fun little idea to do. What would be really nice if this was rear-wheel drive and I could still pilot the robot around on just those 2 wheels. It'd be really unbalanced if that was a thing, but I would love that. I think that alone would make this a lot of fun. If I could still drive him in robot mode, hit the button, and he goes back to vehicle mode, and then I drive him that way. Don't know how viable that is, but we're going to see. We'll find out how this one turns out. And that's going to be my news roundup for the week. Thank you guys for watching. I hope I answered some of your lingering, what does TJ think of this questions through doing this. And I hope I wasn't too long-winded. Let's see the time. Oh, yeah, I was long-winded. All right. But, hey, that's fine. I was doing 2 weeks worth of news. I can be forgiven once in a while. But thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you again for tomorrow's video. Until then. Guys, I am facing the most powerful enemy any YouTuber can face, the algorithm, and I need your help to defeat him. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and leave a comment. Every time you do, we attack that algorithm and we drive it back until it can no longer defeat this channel. Thank you very much.